Activities in the city. Those of us who know him have followed him and learned so much from him. He will be representing the Islamic Circle of North America, New York chapter.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
My name is Mubashir Ahmad, and brothers and sisters in the press conference, we gather here to protest against the killing and rape and the killing of the innocent children in Myanmar, formerly named Burma. We protest strongly against the genocide of the human being, and we strongly protest against the rape. We strongly protest against the killing of the innocent children. We strongly condemn the military government of Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. We strongly protest and ask them to step down immediately. We demand the neighboring countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Iran to open their borders to the displaced people, the displaced human beings. And we strongly demand the military regime to step down. And we want to restore the citizenship rights of the human beings who've been living for centuries in Burma. And we strongly demand our President Barack Obama and Honorable Secretary of State Hillary Clinton immediately take an action and intervene into the Burma and stop the ethnic cleansing. We are the citizens of United States. We are behind you, and we want you to stop this genocide immediately. And this is the history of USA, who stopped the genocide of Bosnia, who stopped the genocide of Kosovo. The same way we want America, the United States of America, to intervene into the Burma and stop this genocide. We are behind you, and we are ready to help you for stopping this genocide and killing the innocent human beings and raping the innocent women and killing and brutal killing of the children. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Mubashir. Now I will invite Maryam Tanzila of Young Sisters of Muslim Ummah in North America. Maryam's grandparents are from Burma. I mean, for generations, Rohingyas have lived in Arakan. They actually ruled that area till 1784, and all of a sudden they now find themselves stateless and homeless and persecuted. I invite Maryam Tanzila.
So the situation in Burma hits pretty close to home for me because my mother's roots can be traced back to Burma. And to think that I could have been a child growing up in Burma, and I could have been a youth in Burma homeless because of my faith. I could have been a youth in Burma raped because of my faith. I could have been a youth who witnessed the death of my entire family simply because of my faith. When many of us were young, our fondest childhood memories consisted of learning how to ride a bike, playing basketball in the neighborhood parks, and celebrating our birthdays with friends and family. However, the most important childhood memory of all is looking back and feeling a sense of security, stability, and freedom. Having a place to call home is something many of us take for granted, and no one should be robbed of that right. Think of how rejected these poor innocent children feel. They are no longer welcome in a country they were born and raised in, and what's worse is they can't even flee to neighboring nation to start a new life and the security of a new home. It's sad how quickly humanity forgets their history and continues to carry out these injustices. How can one's faith be the deciding factor of whether a person should be given citizenship, whether they should be able to live in a home they worked so hard for, and whether they can even see the next day? In this day and age, after overcoming the Holocaust, the rape of Nanking, Khmer Rouge, and the Rwanda genocide, we should be way past ethnic cleansing. Let's not let history repeat itself. My 2-minute speech will not do justice for the situation of the youth in Burma, but just as I have a voice here in front of all these people today, I hope that these innocent children of Burma may soon have a voice of their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam. Yesterday and day before yesterday, I spent time with the refugees in Milwaukee and Minnesota. So many heart-wrenching stories. It tears you apart. And here we can stop more of this genocide. I now invite my good friend and our leader in the peace movement, Joe Lombardo, the national co-coordinator of United National Anti-War Coalition. Joe.
Thank you, Sheikh. The U.S. anti-war movement and the United National Anti-War Coalition, UNAC in particular, has always stood with our Muslim brothers and sisters who are under attack. We understand that those attacks in this country have been used to justify the wars against Muslim populations around the world. However, today we also stand in solidarity with our Muslim brothers and sisters in Burma and in every other country around the world. When the United States allows the kinds of attacks that we have seen in this country against Muslims, the U.S., which is the political, economic, and military leader of the world, gives license to other people to do the same. The United States just opened up better relationships with Burma. Now is the time to understand and to let the leaders of this country know that there are Muslim populations in Burma that are being oppressed. We call upon the other countries in the area to help the refugees from Burma, to help put pressure on the Burmese government to stop these attacks. On October 7th, it will be the 11th anniversary of the longest war in U.S. history, the war against the people of Afghanistan, conducted by the United States. On that weekend, and on October 7th here in New York, and that weekend all around the country, but on October 7th here in New York, we will be holding anti-war demonstrations. And as part of the war effort in this country, we know there has been a whole atmosphere of security that has led to attacks on people of color through stop and frisk, have led to attacks on immigrant populations, have led to attacks on Muslims here, and those questions will be part of the anti-war demonstrations in New York and around the country on October 7th. And I promise you all here that we will bring the issue of the Burmese population and the attacks on the Muslims in Burma into those demonstrations too. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Today's gathering gives out a strong message to the military dictatorship and the ultra-nationalists in Myanmar, Burma, that this genocide has gone for too long, that never again applies to all people and for all times. Now I invite Mehtabuddin Ahmed from Human Rights and Development in Bangladesh.
First, I thank all of you on behalf of HRDB, Human Rights and Development for Bangladesh. We protest what's going on in Burma, not only in Rohingya. If we find out, according to Human Rights Watch, Burma's military regime has recruited tens of thousands of child soldiers. According to United Nations report, Burma's military regime has destroyed over 3,000 ethnic military villages, forcing at least 1 million people to flee as refugees and internally displaced persons. Not only that, Burma militarism used rape as a weapon of war against ethnic minority women. According to many different organizations and the State Department investigate this and found it is true. So we urge all the international human rights organizations to involve with this issue so we can bring the issue all over the world and we can push the Burmese government so they can solve the problem. They give their right, the Rohingya people, their right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Mahtab. Again, I now will have the honor of inviting Reverend Dr. Donna Scarper. Again, people of all religious backgrounds, leaders of clergy from different faiths, we all stand united against this ethnic cleansing that's going on in Burma. Reverend Scarper.
Good afternoon. I come to you from Judson Memorial Church, downtown in New York, a church that some of you may not know was founded by a missionary to Burma, the Reverend Adoniram Judson, 100 years ago this year, returned from Burma and said, we need missionaries here on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, not just in Burma. And so he talked a very famous New Yorker, John D. Rockefeller, into developing both Judson Memorial Church and the Riverside Church uptown as places that would do missionary work in New York City. What do we mean by missionary work? It has often been a form of ethnic cleansing and not a good thing. But it has also been a way to connect peoples with each other and to say that what is most important to Almighty God is beauty and justice and all people getting along. So it is my pleasure on behalf of our founder, Reverend Adoniram Judson, and also to be with many of my esteemed friends here, to join you in saying that there will never be anything right about ethnic cleansing. There will always be something wrong about one people thinking that it's better than another people or that it is more pure. We also represent the New York City New Sanctuary movement in saying that the whole issue of Islamophobia, the violence against Muslims now going on in Burma, is also going on here in New York City. And you would have to be blind or deaf not to see and hear it. And so we stand with you, our brothers and sisters from across the world and from New York City, in saying that we join your hope for a beautiful world, one that is not so much clean or pure, but is instead filled with justice and with hope that all people can have access to the land that God has said we should each have. Please allow me to thank those of you who have already spoken and to say that we are with you in spirit.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you for those words of strength and wisdom and courage. Next month, a person who we all respected but who was also disappointed as Aung San Suu Kyi, the leader of Burmese democracy movement, will be here. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize because of her stand for democracy and freedom. We hope that she will speak out for the most oppressed people of her land. She must remember the personalities of Nelson Mandela and Reverend Martin Luther King, how they always spoke out and never sold or were never intimidated. I have now the honor of inviting the leader of the Muslims of New York, the president of Majlis Shura or Islamic Leadership Council of New York Metropolitan Area, Imam Talib Abdul Rashid.
Thank you, Sheikh Ubay. Good morning, peace be unto you all. Assalamu alaikum. Over the past 25 to 30 years, I've had an occasion, or many a time, as the leader of a congregation of Muslims up in Harlem, to add my voice to the voice of religious leaders of various faiths in the city, lifting up the importance of humanitarian crisis. But I'm here in a different capacity this morning. I'm here in my capacity as the president of the Islamic Leadership Council of Metropolitan New York in order to express our concern and our support for the innocent victims of yet another humanitarian crisis. And as has been the case in the recent past, we see that the mainstream media here in our country is, for some strange reason, for some reason that we really don't understand, by and large, ignoring the humanitarian crisis that is occurring now in Myanmar, the former Burma, just as at first in the 1990s they ignored the humanitarian crisis in Bosnia and the humanitarian crisis in Rwanda and the humanitarian crisis this century in Darfur. And now, once again, we find that thousands of innocent people are being displaced. The greatest victims of wars and genocides are always women and children. And this is the case in Myanmar, where women and children are being brutally raped and murdered. So we of the Islamic Leadership Council of New York, we intend to lend our voice, our encouragement, and the numbers of our constituent congregations and membership to the plans of the Burma Task Force to have a demonstration on September the 8th in order to increase public awareness and public support for the innocent victims in this cause. We also intend on October 7th to join hands with those of the peace movement here in New York, here in America, because all of these instances, Bosnia, Rwanda, Darfur, and now Myanmar, these are instances of man's inhumanity to man that all of us must be concerned about. We're not here today just because the victims are Muslims. We're here because the victims are human beings. And every human being must care for every other human being. So once again, we are proud and committed to standing with the Burma Task Force. And on behalf of the men and women, the children and the youth of the Islamic Leadership Council of New York, we want to encourage all of you to join in, to not be apathetic, to be part of this important and noble cause. And we want to strongly encourage the media here in New York City, one of the media capitals of the world, to become better informed and to inform the public as to why we must all have a concern for innocent victims of a war on the civilian population in Myanmar. Thank you very much. Peace be unto you all. Salam alaikum.
Thank you, Imam. As the Imam said, this is just the beginning. This small rally of the leadership of the different groups will be followed by a general demonstration and march on September 8th, and then around September 22nd in many cities across this country we will be holding demonstrations when Aung San Suu Kyi will be visiting United States. I now invite Advocate Abdul Aziz from Muslim Ummah in North America for his comments.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. We are gathered here today to bring attention to catastrophe that, for reason unknown to us, has been largely ignored by the world while bringing death and destruction to the lives of tens of thousands of Rohingya people of Burma. This is ethnic cleansing at its ugliest. This is the Myanmar government and majority Buddhist people oppressing and murdering the Rohingyas together with impunity just because Rohingyas hold different belief, ethnicity, language and skin color than the majority Burmese people. Where the so-called democracies in the world which claim to value human rights and hate oppressive government regimes. More importantly, where are the government of Muslim nations who no longer blink at Muslims being oppressed and killed by the Myanmar army and government for committing no crime other than being Muslim? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we are in a sorry state of inaction. There is no longer an excuse for our ignorance, especially those exercising willful ignorance. I urge you to ask those around you to get educated about what is happening to our brothers and sisters in Burma and around the world. I then urge you to ask the governments of the world, especially the Muslim governments of the world, and especially the governments of neighboring countries like Bangladesh, India, Thailand, and others, who seems to be giving its silent approval to the Burmese government oppression and distraction to intervene in Burma and to accept the refugees who are merely fleeing Burma to save their lives. They don't mean to be a burden. They just want to enjoy a basic life. Please join us with Muslim Ummah of North America in asking the United Nations, the United States and other governments of the world, and especially their neighboring countries, to act, to intervene, and to help put an end to these ongoing silent catastrophes. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Abdulaziz. Now I will invite a young youth leader and peace activist, human rights activist, Gareth Bryant.
Assalamu ala man ittaba al-huda. May peace be upon whoever follows guidance. Good afternoon, my name is Gareth Bryant. I'm here as a Muslim, I'm here as a human being to help spread awareness about the atrocities that are happening in Myanmar, also known as Burma, and all over the world where people everywhere are suffering. Allah says in the Quran, by time, man is in perpetual loss except those who believe and do good, and encourage one another with truth and patience. Now is the time for people to stand up and do something for someone else. I remember reading in a movie, it was a movie quote. It's called, "What good is a man who doesn't make the world better?" And that's something that I took very seriously. And that's something we have to ask all of ourselves. What good are we if we don't make the world better? It's incumbent upon all of us who have the will and the ability to help make someone else's life better. We have an obligation to do so. But the problem is that unfortunately many of us are not. And this situation in Myanmar is not something new. There have been other atrocities just as bad, if not worse, that we know of historically, and there's no need to go into them because people have already mentioned them. But the point is that these things should have never happened, and the atrocities that are happening in Burma should be the last. We shouldn't have to have another press conference displaying the atrocities of a people based on things that they have no control over, based on skin color, based on ethnicity, based on language, and even based on religion, because many of these people, they didn't choose the respective religions that they're a part of. They were born into these religions, but people are oppressing them because of this, and it's wrong. It's wrong to oppress anyone, to have a bias against anyone based on something they have no control over. So I'm here standing before you today to to encourage all of us to help make someone's life better. Any organization that you could be a part of to help end the atrocities in Burma, also known as Myanmar, and anywhere else around the world, you're morally and ethically obligated to do so. We are all morally and ethically obligated to help end oppression anywhere and everywhere and to help make someone's life better. So that's all I have to say, and I hope that Allah makes it so that all of us can contribute to making people's lives better. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.
Thank you, Brother Jared. I now invite Raja Mizan Hassan from one of the largest Islamic centers and mosques in the area, Jamaica Muslim Center.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon. With great regret and with a very heavy heart, I stand before you today to inform you about the barbaric treatment and the massacres of Muslims that is taking place in Myanmar. We are all aware of it through media. Some sort of media has reported that, but most of the reports have not been reported by our media. I always thought that Myanmar was a peaceful and God-fearing country, but the recent massacres have had an impact of a horror and a total contrary to my belief of that country. It really perturbs me to know that this kind of barbaric, inhuman, and ruthless behavior is being tolerated by the so-called Western civilized world. And a civilized country like Myanmar, it appears we have lost decency and empathy for our fellow human race. Instead, we have become worse than the animals. My request to the world, especially to the Myanmar government, please, for the sake of humanity, to stop this genocide and work towards the harmony and well-being of your nation and your people. Those are Rohingya Muslims. The world is very closely watching you and your ability to handle the situation. However, so far, your government has failed to handle the situation correctly and have been helping the massacre of the Muslims in Myanmar. We all know your country, your countrymen, Myanmar country, can do better in resolving this matter by instigating the killing, instead of helping them to stop the killing, they're instigating the killing. My humble request and plea to the government of Myanmar, please stop this double standard and protect and safeguard the life of the Muslim minority of your country. My request to the Muslim countries and the leaders to stop being a spectator. Do something to stop the genocide. Remember, we are all answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank you, Brother Mizan. Now I invite somebody who has inspired us all with her steadfastness, her courage and her leadership, Sister Debbie Al-Muntazir from the Muslim Consultative Network and other many important groups and organizations.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace and greetings, everyone. It is truly an honor and a privilege to stand in solidarity with my brothers and sisters, calling on behalf of the world leaders to intervene for the people of Burma. It is truly a shame that the genocide of the Rohingya Muslims continues day after day, and the world continues to have a blind eye to this genocide. We must call on international leaders to stop the atrocities in Burma and call on leaders to ensure that this does not continue to happen. We are here to shed light and to also educate people about what is happening. We also call on the media to do its job, and that is to report about all atrocities happening across the world. I thank my brothers and sisters who are here today standing and demanding justice, and I thank all who are out there. Please join us on September 8th. Please join us on October 7th. It is our duty as Muslims and as human beings to stand for justice. When there is injustice anywhere, it's injustice everywhere to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Debbie. Thank you so very much. As she reminded, please mark down those dates. September 8th, a demonstration for the most persecuted people in the world, the Rohingyas of Burma, Myanmar. Then October 7th, a major mobilization for peace and anti-war, as our leader Joe Lombardo has said. Then September 22nd, we will have demonstrations all over the country when Aung San Suu Kyi will be visiting this country. I now invite the person who represents the Rohingyas, the most persecuted people, the people who Doctors Without Borders say that are most likely to be extinct. How can we let a group of human beings go extinct? How can we? How can we even use that word, a word that is being used by a very respectable human rights organization, Doctors Without Borders? I now invite my dear brother who I have just met and had heard so much about his work, Muhammad Yusuf Mohiuddin from Rohingya Concern International.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I am very much thankful to all of you, particularly Burma Task Force of New York, which has arranged this press conference and which is planning also on September 8th to have a rally in front of the United Nations headquarters. Actually now the Rohingya cause has become an international matter and concern. Now it has become an international issue. For the last time, this happened many times in 1978 when there was 300,000 Rohingya people fled to Bangladesh, and by that time Rohingya matter was internationalized. But after a few years it has gone down. And then again in 1992 there was a big refugee influx. Again 300,000 Rohingya were compelled to take refuge in Bangladesh. By that time also there was some leading news in the international media and the arena. And after a few days it has gone. And again when there was a lot of talking about the Rohingya people, when they were sent to the ocean without engine in the ships, and many people were dead, 500 people, and when there was a problem in Thailand, then another time this became an issue of the international concern. But after a few days it has gone down. Actually these Rohingya people are suffering for the last 60 years. They have been living there as human, not as human beings. They are living like animals. They have no any kind of rights. They have no any kind of justice. They have no any kind of opportunity to live as a human being with dignity and honor. Only because they are Muslims. Even though the government and the other people and NGOs says that they are being discriminated because of the color or ethnicity, actually it is only because we are Muslims. They are torturing us, they are committing inhuman atrocities, and they have been doing that is unknown to the world. The Rohingya people, because only they are Muslims and belong to Rohingya ethnicity, they are not regarded as one of these Burmese citizens. Actually, Burmese people, Burmese government, after getting independence, we were citizens. I am one of the Rohingya, and my complete family is in Burma now, in Arakan state, Sitwe. Our villages were burned down, our masjid was burned down, our 125 years old madrasa was burned down. And all people now living in the camps, concentration camps. What is our crime? Is it a crime to be Muslims? No, surely no. We are human beings, we belong to human family. Human concern is international concern. We are human beings, we are not animals. Every country they have signed the Declaration of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All of the countries. But when they come in question of the Muslims, they are very reluctant to advocate our cause. According to the international law, according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we are entitled to be the citizens and nationality of Burma. But they say we are not the citizens of Burma. And again they say, you are from Bangladesh. You go back to Bangladesh. Bangladesh is your country. Your father, your mother, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, they all come from Bangladesh during the British period. So there is no place for you people in Burma. Go back to Bangladesh. Actually today we are suffering because of this Bangladesh. If our culture, if our language, if our skin, if our tradition, if our language, and if our religion is not like Bangladeshi, then this question will never arise. Unfortunately, our neighboring country, the Bangladesh government, we are very much thankful to this government for the previous activities and their help during 1978, during 1992. But this time a little bit different. The current Bangladesh government is not giving any kind of help and shelter to the Rohingya people. There are women, children, kids, aged people, disabled people coming to take refuge to save their life. They were returned back to Burma and they floated on the ocean in the small fishing boat, and more than 1,200 people were dead. Who is responsible for this kind of death? So at least for the humanitarian cause, as human rights, they have Bangladesh government. We respect the Bangladesh government, we respect Bangladesh people, and we have to respect their sovereignty, independence, and their foreign policies. We do that. But instead of helping, blaming that the Rohingya people are collaborating with the Jamaat Islam or Islamic fundamentalist group, and Rohingyas are terrorists, Rohingyas are fundamentalists, Rohingyas are miscreants, Rohingyas are bad people. This kind of words from our Honorable Foreign Minister Dipu Moni and the Social Welfare Minister, and also from other quarters of the Bangladesh political societies, is very harmful to us. Now Bangladesh government is taking a good position. According to their statement, they say we have no place, we have no resources to help you because we already have 400,000 people here already. And there are 30,000 people are there in the camps. So this is their reason that the Bangladesh government says they want to solve the problem in Burma. But because of this extraordinary policy, thousands and thousands of people were killed. They may be alive and they may be safe if Bangladesh government has a little bit sympathy. Don't bring them in the Bangladesh area. Just keep them in the Sint Maarten. Keep them there and keep temporary refuge and send back them, and this can be a solution. So I would like to request our Bangladeshi government, the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina Wajida, and I also want to request our Honorable President of Bangladesh, Zillur Rahman, and I also request all the opposition party leaders at least to give us a temporary refuge until our problem is solved. Rohingya problem will not be solved easily. So I also request that 160 million peace-loving Bangladeshi people to stand for it and demand justice, at least to help us as human beings. Because Bangladesh already suffered this kind of things during the Bangladesh Liberation War. Now we are having the same problem, so this is not easily solvable. We have to stand for justice. Even our Honorable Lady Aung San Suu Kyi, who has got 35 awards for peace because of the respect of the human rights, she is criminally silenced now. She dare not stand for the cause of the Rohingya because we are only Muslims. That's why. Now I am very much thankful to Burma Task Force of New York and brother Dr. Sheikh Ubaid and all other leaders who come here and who has expressed their solidarity and who has expressed their consent to stand, and they work in the future in September 8 and October and another 22 September. I would like to request each and everybody to come forward and join with these brothers. Actually, I cannot complete what is the suffering of the Rohingya people. They are being treated as animals. They have no any rights. The store is in front. They are here in their home. They cannot go and buy any stuff from the store. They are selling to the Rakhine and Buddhist people. Muslim people cannot purchase anything. And the international aid that are coming to the government, that is not coming to the rightful persons. Even Muslim countries, even Turkish ministers, that they are going there. But they are saying that they would like to distribute it. When they distribute it, they have again discrimination. A lot of problem is going on. This is not going to be easy to solve this problem. So I would like to request each and everybody who are present here and all organizations, human rights organization, anti-slavery organization, human rights organization, and all other people who are working for the human rights and justice to come forward and work with Burma Task Force so that we can have a united voice to stand against injustice and to stand against the genocide. Actually, these Rohingya people are the victims of a government-sponsored genocide. Even though the Burmese government is saying that this is a communal riot, this is the result of a gang rape of a lady, this is wrong. Because of a gang rape, a lady who is being raped, this cannot be, the whole nation cannot be the victims. Just it is a pretext. This is not the acceptable things, because the government security forces, they themselves are firing the Rohingya people. And the 144 emergency law is being there. But the Muslim cannot go outside, but the Rakhine people, they can go and room and do everything. What is this kind of emergency state order? What is this kind of the emergency law? So we have to work together. We have to convince the United States government through our united efforts to work more so that they can press the Burmese military government to come to justice and to give and restore the citizenship rights of the Muslim Rohingya people there. They have been living there for thousands and thousands of years there. They did not come from Bangladesh in the last, during Bangladesh liberation time or during the British period. So it is completely wrong. Let us sit down, make a debate and prove who are Rohingyas, from where they come. If they are from Bangladesh, talk to the Bangladesh government and send them to Bangladesh. If this belongs to the Bangladesh government. If they belong to Burma, let them stay there with peace and dignity. So we cannot live in 60 years and 100 more years in this condition. So I would like to request each and everybody to come forward with a constructive idea through a peaceful way to solve the problems. Thank you so much. Ma'asalama.
I want to reassure Brother Mohiuddin that unlike in the past, in the 1960s, 78, 92, this time it will be different. We have seen people like Joe Lombardo, we have seen people like Reverend Scarper, we have Mr. Debbie Al-Mutasser, we have Brother Gerard, and we have people of all different ethnic backgrounds, people of different religious backgrounds. We will come together. We will give clear message to Burma that this genocide will have to stop, that the citizenship of Rohingyas will have to be restored. We will give a very clear signal and very clear message to the Bangladeshi government that they cannot shirk their responsibilities, that the United Nations Charter imposes on them, that the Islamic religion imposes on them, and that we also express our great thanks and gratitude to the Turkish government who have taken a lead to fight for Rohingyas. We will continue our struggle. We will stand in solidarity with the Rohingyas as we have done for the other oppressed peoples, both Muslims and non-Muslims. Burma Task Force, which is an alliance of the different Muslim organizations and mosques in the area and across the country. Please join us. Please make sure that you get our action alerts. We want you to spend just 10 minutes a day. We are asking you to send petitions to Dalai Lama, to Aung San Suu Kyi, to Hillary Clinton, and every week we will have different campaigns. The upcoming major event is September 8th. Then October 7th is a huge rally here in New York, but in between there on September 22nd, we will have rallies and demonstrations all over the country. On September 22nd, Aung San Suu Kyi will be here, the media will be here, and our message will ring out loud and clear all across the world. I once again thank every one of you, and thank you so very much. Jazakallah khair.
Aung San Suu Kyi be here.